What is up, guys? It is Francis. I am your sometimes host, most of the time host, pretty much always the host now. We discussed it with Chris Yackey, how that came to be a couple episodes ago. Go back and listen to that if you have not. But it is episode 94. 88. I'm getting closer every time, though. And this will come out on Wednesday, February the 26th.
18th.
This coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Sick. I would have been wrong either way. Sorry, my wallet is clicking on the chair. I have just a couple news and announcements. If you want to cut the music, you freaking psycho, we're going to get copyrighted. All right. We get copyrighted every video. That's a joke between me and Evan. So first of all, I want to say thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening, guys. Second off, I want to say that we are going through Charlie's schedule for the year and what classes he's going to teach, and we're open to suggestions. I didn't move that. That was weird. We are open to suggestions. So if you want, we've had a couple people ask for Tong classes. We had a Tong class scheduled that unfortunately had to get moved or canceled. Ben was unable to do that with us. I believe Steve King had plans for Tongs with his hammer class, but they got through the hammers and decided they wanted to make a second hammer. So we've got Tong class. Brett's class always does wonderful. The intro to stock removal. No?
Brett's is intro to bladesmithing.
Intro to bladesmithing.
Specifically not stock removal.
Oh, okay. I thought the last one he did was stock removal.
And Charlie does a stock removal class.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected.
You're sitting.
Evan will be punished.
Yep.
You can never sit higher than the king. I've seen the king and I. So we have a lot of classes that typically do pretty well. We have backed up a little bit on the school, getting national teachers and big 4-day events. We went hard in the paint for 2 years, and Anderson is beautiful about 3 months out of the year. So we're going to plan most of our classes around that. We are going to invite you to either come out with a sleeping bag and a tent or drive an RV, because the best way to stay in Anderson is to stay at Mounds State Park. I always want to call it Mounds Road State Park just because it's on, like, Mounds Road is a bit, it's not a big road, but it's part of 32 in Anderson, and it's kind of a dividing line. So you either live north or south of Mounds, and that's how you know if you live in north or south Anderson. So I always want to call it Mounds Road. Anyway, this is everybody across the country that listens to us is riveted by my conversation about Mounds Road. So that is the best way to stay in Anderson is to stay at Mounds State Park. And, we have a piece from David here, or a collab piece from David here, and I'm going to go on a little David rant. Mounds State Park is around where the original settlement of Anderson was. And when Chief Anderson, who was part Native American and part Swedish, went to I believe his mother's side was Native, went to her tribe and said, hey, I want to start a town, a locality. I want to start building a business. Indiana got its nickname the Crossroads of America because all of our railroads had to pass through and stuff like that. And even before that, with like fur trappers and things, Indiana was big into trade, logistics. So he wanted to start something like that, kind of a fort for trading, if you will. And when he went to them, they asked him, they said, why do you want that place particularly? And he said, well, because it's kind of in the middle of a lot of trade routes and I can, set up camp and I think I can make a good settlement there. And they responded, well, you can have it. I can have it. And they were like, yeah, you can just have that land is now yours. He was like, sick. Thank you so much, brother. And they said, yeah, we don't want it. That's where the ghosts live. And then as they're researching the mounds, they find that they are burial mounds. And when I was in school, they taught us that they were built by the Delaware Indians. And turns out, as more and more research is done, they were built way like thousands of years before the Delaware. And the Delaware people, as we keep looking into history and kind of getting writings and lore from them, they discovered the mounds, and it is actually a more accurate, what do they call it? It's not a, I can't remember what it's called. Stonehenge. What they think Stonehenge is. Not a calendar or a clock, but the other thing for navigation.
Sundial.
Nope. Yeah, great radio. But anyway, it's actually way more accurate and way larger than Stonehenge. And you don't hear about that because Anderson is bad at publicity. So there's all kinds of things. They still don't know exactly what it was for, but they think it was for navigation uses. And they buried bodies into the mounds. And I mean, these things are huge and look like geographic shapes that would have been caused by glaciers and all that. But it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful there. And the camping is pretty secluded. You're not campsites right on top of each other. There is a mild stray cat problem, but that's all just part of nature, baby. You want stray cats or you want bobcats? You get to pick.
We got both.
Not in Anderson. I mean, we ain't got no bobcats in Anderson. Ain't got no bobcats. We got snakes because of that thing that happened in Nashville.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was a lab in Nashville that had a bunch of snakes. We don't get them as bad up here because of our cold weather, but in southern Indiana, they have invasive snakes because there was a lab that shut down and they just let all the snakes out.
What kind of lab?
I think they were like doing some sort of like medicine trials.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know exactly. I just know that the lab got shut down and they were just like, what do we do with all these snakes? And whoever was in charge was like, open the gate. So anyway, going back to the school, let us know what classes you want to see. We're going to be doing a lot more one-day classes, things that are like, we'll be doing a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but each day will be one class and it'll be the same class for 3 days. So we'll have a knife making weekend, but it'll be the same class Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And hopefully we'll be able to fill out slots that way. We are also going under the same guise that we went under when we released the classes at a lower price point. We are looking at how to get information to people for an affordable price. So that's another reason that we kind of backed off of guest instructors is we have to pay for their flight. We have to pay for their hotel, for their food while they're out there, their instructor fee. And even though those guys are doing, they're not charging us astronomically. This is no shade to any instructor. The instructors are not coming in, with dropping their bags on the floor and making us pick them up and scurry them away. And, we're not wiping the sweat off their brow.
Brett does request that.
Brett requests it, but does he get it?
Yes.
He probably would. If anybody would, he would. But all those things kind of combine, and then we have to make our classes expensive, and we don't want to do that. So now we have Charlie, who's in-house. We have material handling and all that stuff taken care of to where we don't have to order crazy amounts of stuff for each individual class. We want these to be more affordable. So if you reach out to us and say you want to take a class on building an Abrams, we're just slightly out of that price point.
I know a guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who builds Abrams?
Kind of.
Should we talk about it publicly?
No.
Okay. We're going to talk about that later, though. There used to be a war museum in Anderson, too. I would have talked about that. And they had a live tiger, and it was sick. Every night, to protect the war museum, he would just let the tiger out.
That's fake.
And he would walk around the museum.
Fake.
No, he would walk around the museum. Look it up. It was a war museum. It was, I believe, on Crystal. It was right next to the church that I went to growing up. So the church is on School. I can't remember what the road crossing is, but it's at the end of Crystal. They had a helicopter out front. And so they wanted him to get all these license for having all this old military equipment. And so he was just like, nope, I sold it all and moved. Yeah, he had a live tiger. You can ask anybody from Anderson.
I can't find it.
Yeah.
I can't verify this.
It was not it was not like the Indiana State War Museum. It was just a dude with his private collection that would let you come visit. I can drive you by it today. Super cool. Anyway, let us know. We want to make these classes affordable. We want to make them kind of intro to intermediate level. We're not going to be doing a ton of expert symposiums on pattern welded steel and geometry and metallurgy and the difference between martensite and austenite. We're just not there as a school, as a facility, because it's hard to get to Indiana. We don't have a bunch of teachers around us, but we have a Charlie who's really good at teaching. So let us know what you want to see from the school as we start to build out our class list. We might also just pop them up as they come. We might just decide, hey, in April, let's do this. And we post it in March. Right? Hey, let's do this in June. And we, post it in May. So let us know ongoing. How can we serve you? How can we teach you? How can we get you access to cool tools? Let me take a little sippy sip here. Okay. So I don't like that you didn't. That was a good gulp. I got a good gulp out of that.
I know.
And then what was the second thing I wanted to talk about, Evan? Was the school
CBA?
No, that's later. We got a big.
Oh.
I got.
Oh, you got.
I got it. I got it. I have the documents. I've been eating chili all day. I have the documents. Like four people are gonna understand that joke. So the school was the first thing. CBA is coming up in April. We're going to spend the back half of this episode talking about that. Now is time to start planning for the IBA annual hammer in. They should be getting things listed and published soon about that. I have some insider knowledge on that, and it is going to be a very good time. There's going to be action. There's going to be fire. There's going to be grinding. It's going to be sick.
Details are coming soon.
Let's jump right in. Guys, for the past 6 months, 4 months, some amount of time, life's been a fireball. That was the worst way I've ever seen anybody hold up 8 fingers. I hated that.
Wait.
I hate that.
Show everybody.
This is disgusting. All right. So for about 8 months, apparently, we have employed a young man. We got to meet him through Corbin, going out to Kurt's. He helped deliver a lawnmower to my house. I thought he was a 40-year-old man. Corbin asked if he could bring his friend to help him deliver the lawnmower. And I said yes. And then a full-grown, divorced, 3-stepchildren man got out of his truck with him. And I said, oh, his friend must be sick. I literally asked him, I said, oh, did your friend's dad have to come? And he goes, nope, that's just Haiden. So for about 8 months, we've been employing Haiden as he is waiting to get into a diesel mechanic internship. And he's been working on our shipping. He's been working on some assembly. He has been doing some blacksmithing with Kurt, just kind of getting into the general routine of that blue collar lifestyle that you guys see on TikTok so much, right? That's where the kids are looking at the blue collar memes.
Yeah, that and probably Instagram.
Probably. Are you going to pretend like you also don't have Instagram like Corbin did for 2 years?
No, I got it.
What is PlayStation? So Haiden is a hardworking man, and he has been since he's about 3 years old. He's been this size since he was 3 years old. It's insane. But we wanted to get him on because we are not going to have a forever opportunity to have him on. He's got a cool hat on today. We've got the opportunity to have him on now. He could leave at any point. The internship that he's looking at is pretty much a drop everything and get to the shop so that we can teach you how to do it. And that is through a very, very well-known diesel brand that, for your own good, I'm going to leave out of the podcast in case you say something silly.
Well, it's on my hat, so.
Well, you could have left that out. There are other diesel brands.
I know.
All right. Haiden, you're in the hot seat. Tell us about yourself. What do you like doing? What got you into blacksmith? How'd you meet Corbin? How do you feel about me?
So I got into blacksmith. I met Corbin because his dad was my little league football coach, and Corbin was a quarterback.
Of course, the coach's kid is always the quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. We just like instantly clicked. I mean, both our moms are the same age and we're in classes together. And so
that's the best thing about little kids is they're like, my mom's 35. My mom's 35 too. And then they're best friends. That's the only thing that they were related on is their moms are both the same age. Mm-hmm. It's the best.
Yeah. Then I just started protecting them on the line, I guess. And then
in football, not in like real life. You didn't think you were his Batman.
Yeah, I was just protecting him in football. And after a while, I got into high school. I think my sophomore year, Corbin started picking up blacksmithing. And I got very depressed, I would say. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to find something to get my mind off of everything, all the thoughts I had going on. And I saw on Instagram, I saw him just moving metal. I was like, sounds cool. I'm going to go try it. So I went over to his house and we made a bottle opener. Mm-hmm. And then it spiraled into making a horse head, then a horse head bottle opener.
Spiraled? That makes it sound like it got out of control.
Oh, well, it didn't really get out of control. It just started I think for 3 months straight, we were just every day in the shop, just working. And then summer hit, football came, and just kept doing it. And that's really how I got into it. And I started going to Kurt's about 2 to 2.5 years ago, and I've loved it ever since. Paul Kennedy, I think you've talked about him on here. He's been on the show.
Yeah, you would know if you listen.
I do listen. He helps me. He teaches me, and helps me about every week. If not every week. Kurt helps me. Dan helps me. A lot of people help me. And it's amazing how the blacksmith community they don't like nag at you or like be mean to you. They trying to get you better at what you're doing and trying to make you learn a lot. And it's awesome, in my opinion.
So what are some of the things that you've picked up going to Kurt's shop?
I've learned how to do pass-throughs and how to forge weld, how to do a tenon. And, the biggest thing for me is I struggle sometimes with tapering stuff. But going there, we always have to do something with tapering, but it's always fun to do it, and you always have to different taper every time.
Right. So you said that you got into blacksmithing because of going through a little batch of the SADs, right?
Yeah.
Some depression.
Yeah.
What has blacksmithing done? And I'm not gonna try and make you cry on the podcast or anything. I'm not gonna try. We get too deep when Nathan gets on, so I'm burnt out of that for the next 6 months. But what are some of the things that blacksmithing has helped you with to get you past some of those depression moments, or maybe with your self-confidence, or talk just lightly on that, and we'll move on.
Well, for the depression part, it gets my mind off of things a lot, and then as I'm doing it, because my mind works as if I'm working on something. It could be anything, just working. My mind's always off of everything. I push everything to the side, and I always focus on working. So it just gives me a way to work. And then with the self-confidence thing, I don't really have much, I feel like. And it gives me some. I know how to do that, and I do it right the first time, and I'm like, this is awesome. I finally learned.
Right, that risk and reward of you're taking a chance, and we talked about it a little bit with Nathan. But what risk are you taking? Okay, well, when I put my steel into a coal fire, I could burn it up.
Yeah.
Okay, when I take it out, I can burn myself if I don't handle it properly. But also, chill, Ellie. I can do a mistrike and make scrap, or I can struggle with my taper and it's not as clean or as even as I want it to be. And then I'm going to have to go through a second heat and then I'm risk burning it again, right? There's all kinds of risks we're taking.
Yeah.
But that reward that you get at the end of the finished product where you get to say, I did that. And here's how it holds up to Dan's. Here's how it holds up to Kevin's. Here's how it holds up to Kurt's, who's the one teaching the class or the technique or whatever the thing is. Does that give you a little bit of self-confidence to push into other areas of your life? Like, if I can finish this piece, I can do this thing, right? It kind of goes back to the idea of Jordan Peterson talks about, if you're really struggling that bad, wake up and make your bed. And then you start out your day with a win. And I know I'm going to get hate mail for talking about Jordan Peterson. Don't get me wrong. I know he's a polarizing subject. But there are a few key things that I agree with him on. There is a lifestyle discipline that creates confidence. And if you wake up and you make your bed, you start out with a win. Mm-hmm. Okay? You make your breakfast and you clean up after yourself. That's 2 wins and your belly's full. You know, you go and you attack the objective of whatever, whether it's go to work, whether it's find a job, whether it's mow your grass. You start out with these goals and excuse me. You start out with these goals, and as you hit your objectives, you start getting some of that self-confidence, that self-esteem goes up, and then you're able to stretch your goals. It's the same thing we talked about with stretching in the morning. When I told you, dude, you stretch with us for 10 minutes out of the day, do it 20. And then in 2 weeks, you'll be able to do 25. Mm-hmm. And then in 2 weeks after that, you'll be able to do 30, right? Yeah. It's that same idea. Do you feel like you take that and carry it past blacksmithing and into other areas of your life?
Yeah, I like if I have to do something at the house, like make something or put something together, it just I don't get as mad usually. Sometimes I do, but once it's done, I'm like, awesome. I know how to do this. I know how, and I know if something needs to happen with this, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the things that you've done around the house that you're taking pride in?
I've made a hook for my mom. Well, for my mom for a coat rack. Then I've also put together a lot of stuff for him, like a lot of the furniture, I guess. Mm-hmm. If it's just I can step in and help when need be, unless my dad wants to do it by himself the whole time. But yeah, I like the sense of a job being done, and it just feels great.
Okay, so well, yeah, and we'll move on from there. What is that the same feeling that you get from working on trucks and getting that done? Is that kind of, because to me, working on cars is frustrating because I don't understand them well enough. Are you challenged by the thought process and you like that? Because you're incredibly intelligent. Let me brag on Haiden for a second. Haiden is in the Hall of Fame of his school. Literally the Lapel High School Hall of Fame for his academics. Mm-hmm. And Haiden will tell me all the time, well, I'm just not that smart. And he is in the High School Hall of Fame for a school, if you grew up here, that is known for being the smart kids. Those were the smart farmers. I'm not going to tell you who the dumb farmers were, but you can probably guess. I've talked about my hometown a lot on this on the podcast. Uh-huh. That's what we were known as. We were the dummies, right? And you guys were the smart farmers. So, and then like Anderson was all the factory workers, and Muncie was or Yorktown was the dentist, and Muncie was kind of a mix of identity there. They had a little bit more economy than a lot of the other cities around here. But Haiden is incredibly intelligent, and he's going to try and tell you guys that he's not. So let's move forward. Does that thought process, like trying to figure out what wrong, the diagnosis, right? Like that's what Greg is really good at, is getting into a car and figuring out what's wrong. He's like a Dr. House for cars. Yeah. Is that what you enjoy as well?
Yeah, I like the when I'm like there's a problem, I need to find a solution, but we don't know a solution. So I like to just dive in there and see, because like when my dad, he's a diesel mechanic as well, when his truck broke down, sometimes he asks me, he's like, "What do you think's wrong with this?" And then we go through the process, and then he says, "Well, it could be this though." And I like figuring out what it could be, but it's not. It's this.
Andy did that a lot. He would play devil's advocate is what he'd call it. We'd whether it be in business, a press, forging knives, whatever. I can't think of a project that I worked on with him that I spent more than 10 or 20 minutes with him, and he wouldn't say, well, just to be the devil's advocate, what if we did this? Or what if this was the problem? And that's how his mind worked as well, was it was constantly seeing problems to create solutions. And there's a ton of value in that. I have all the body sounds today. There's a ton of value in that. What becomes a problem a lot of times is people who are wired that way feel like they get shut down, or that their opinion isn't valued in the setting that they're in, or whatever. So what they'll do is they'll constantly just tell you what the problem is, but they won't bother to tell you what solutions they see because they feel like their opinions aren't valued. Yeah. Are you still in the phase where when you're working with your dad and you're working on a truck and you say, hey, I think this is the issue, let's fix it this way? Or do you say, hey, Dad, it could be this, and then let him tell you what his solution would be?
Usually with my dad, he says, if I try to do it a different way, he's like, well, okay, Mr. Know-it-all, do it then. And then I would do it, and then it wouldn't work.
Right.
And then because he's been in the field for 30 plus years.
But he lets you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's so important, letting people fail, and from an instructor point of view. And that's not quite where I was getting at, but that's still good feedback is I'm not a parent, so I really can't turn it off if you don't value my opinion. That's fine, but I'm going to say it. I think there's a lot of soft people in this world that were raised by parents with very loving intentions that protected them from too much. Mm-hmm. They were set up in such a structure that they couldn't fail. And because those people don't know how to fail, life is harder for them once they get into the real world and they don't get a project out on time, or they're not able to complete their forge weld or whatever. You see the maturity start to change in that aspect. Mm-hmm. Evan, who is the guy that you really like that makes the pants? It's a Marine. Origin. Who's that guy?
Jocko.
Okay, Jocko. Apparently he's on the same level as Scherer and doesn't need a last name. So Jocko, isn't it like Wilcox or
Willink?
Willink. Okay. So Jocko Willink, and I don't know if he's the origin of this quote, but I've been thinking it to myself a lot lately, is pick your hard. Choose your hard. You can decide which hard you want to face. And his example is in marriage. He says you can struggle through a marriage that you're not happy in and just exist. That's hard. You can get a divorce. That's hard. Or you can fight for your marriage and fight for the person that you once loved to come back and I also, as I'm saying this, I don't know that it was Jocko, but the person's example, I think it's Jocko, is, you pick your hard. Okay, well, if I sit in a struggling marriage and I make no efforts to save it, what's my outcome? What's my return? It's nothing. It's depleted. There is no positive outcome from that. Okay, what's my outcome if I get a divorce? Well, hopefully I can start the foundation to another loving relationship. Okay, and that third one is probably the hardest of all three, but what's my return? I get to be in love with the same person. I get to honor and respect and serve the same person that I started out with. Maybe it's 2 years ago, maybe it's 15 years ago, maybe it's 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. But the reward of that and keeping a family core together is so much more rewarding than what your reward would be of the divorce or the failed marriage that you stay in. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's my one tangent for the day. Maybe we'll get more. But with your dad allowing you to fail and you saying, hey, Dad, I think this is we'll just make something up, an EM pump. And your dad's like, okay, then fix the EM pump. and then you fix it and it doesn't work. The more you fail, you get used to it and it's not so hard. It's not so harsh.
Yeah.
I was way more upset about striking out when I was in minor leagues than when I was in the, we called it major leagues. I don't know if every place does baseball the same, but I didn't play professional baseball. We just called the youth baseball after 13 major leagues. But when I was in the major leagues, it was fine because I knew I was going to get another at bat. I was going to get another chance to be the solution to win the game, right?
Yeah.
So by your dad allowing you to fail and say, okay, you did the EM pump, it's wrong. Okay, well, it turned out that it was an eco sensor, right? That's a real thing on a diesel. Lot of eco emissions going on there. But that's setting you up for success. Do you find that in that moment of failure, you get half-hearted and lose interest or get frustrated? Or do you find like it's like, okay, I've got to keep going? Or is there like an extra motivation of proving your dad wrong? Like, okay, well, I can still do it,
Mm-hmm. I'd say it's about a mix of about all three of those. Like that sucks. It didn't work the way I wanted it to, so I get frustrated. I don't really know if I get half-hearted. I really don't know what that means.
Half-hearted, the best way I can explain half-hearted would be like Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh. It's like he wants to be with his friends, but he's also just a bummer.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't get half-hearted. I'd just get frustrated, and I get more motivation now to either prove them wrong or to fix it the way it should be fixed.
Make Daddy proud.
Yeah.
Can you say Daddy?
Daddy.
I've been waiting 8 months to hear that.
Just to clarify, I'm sure Jocko has said that it is attributed to a poem by Devin Ruff.
Devin Ruff, Rough.
With a Brough.
Okay, kind of like our friend.
Yes.
Rob Huff, like
Rob
tough.
Hugh. Yeah.
Rob Hugh.
Yeah.
Rob Huff, like tough.
Hugh. Yeah.
All right, so with you coming up and working in blacksmithing, and Kurt's the same way. Kurt will let you fail. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one time. That's kind of his. I'll tell you one time, and then if you do it wrong, cool. And then you have to come back, and I'll tell you how to fix it one time. And if you don't, it's like, and it's not because it's like, I don't have time for you or like, screw you, you didn't listen to me. It's failure is very important. So as you're coming up through blacksmithing, you all also probably let up some sacks in football.
Yeah.
Okay. Your quarterback got hit. I didn't play football and I didn't play hockey growing up, but I like hockey a lot more. Is the offensive line kind of equivalent to the enforcers in the NHL, where if you touch my goalie, you die?
Yeah. Usually if the quarterback gets hit, we get a ton of lashing on the sidelines anyways. But after that, we step our game up and make sure it doesn't happen again.
You're fired up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I come to you and I say, would you rather take a sack in the first quarter when there's still 3 quarters left to win the game, and you get that motivation and that fire under you and that don't touch my quarterback attitude in the first quarter, or the defense is super light on you and kind of pats at you, and then you let up a sack in the fourth quarter in a close game? You'd probably want that sack to come in the first quarter so that you have time to make up for your mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's kind of what I'm talking about is when you face those mistakes and those failures early, it's going to be beneficial because then you have that drive to fix it. And you have better ability to fix it, better timeline to game plan.
Yes.
So as you're moving from football to blacksmithing to manufacturing, and now you're looking into getting into a pretty technical field. It's not easy to be a diesel mechanic, especially when you're working on semis where the guy has no idea what he's talking about. He just comes up and it's the age old, like, well, it went, and then it went, you got to tell me what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to jump into an engine bay and decipher what's going on very quickly. What are some of the skills and things that you have gained in your lifetime that you are now transferring into this new career that you're looking into getting into?
A good one is like being able to bounce back from like failure. I forget what you would call that, like a fancy name for it.
Recovery?
There's another one for. I think there's another one. Adversement? Nope.
Adversity?
Yeah.
Okay. Balance in adversity?
Yeah.
Look at you go.
That is really big for me. Also, just working hard and working fast and efficiently. Also, keeping stuff organized and neat and clean, because time is money. I'll tell you that. And then also just respect everyone. If someone says you can do it this way, you can take it and try it. Maybe try it one way. If you try it that way and you like it, then you learn something and stuff like that. You just always don't be arrogant or ignorant and be fixed in your ways. Always look at other opportunities and see what you can do.
It was incredibly insightful. I wasn't expecting that. What a good job you've done. I don't want this podcast to be 2 hours, so we're going to start wrapping it up. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions that somebody your age would have no business knowing the answer to or being as deep and insightful as you are. But you saying that makes me, you do come out with these weird, insightful moments that I want to kind of.
Hayden, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Yeah, okay.
19
We've
going
only
on
called
50.
him 43 so far.
Yeah,
I don't think it's been clarified.
So I'm going to inside the actor's studio with you, okay? What is your favorite day that you've ever had and why?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think it was when I got my truck, my first vehicle. I bought it, and then that day combined with fixing it when I had to. I just liked it because I worked towards. I saved up all the money for it, bought my truck because I needed it. Well, I didn't really need it, but I wanted it, and then had to fix it because it wouldn't be road legal if it wasn't fixed.
Okay, so it gave you a sense of, you've got both your sense of fulfillment from setting a goal and attaining it, and then also there is a sense of pride from having a responsibility. At 16 years old, I did the same thing. I saved up, I bought a car, actually took a small loan from my grandparents. A small loan. I am so bad at the Trump voice. It was
your Trump?
Yeah, that was my Trump.
No.
It was $1,500 was the small loan, not $1 million. But I bought a car that had some problems with it, and the same thing. Within a couple weeks, I had to replace an EVAP sensor and a O2 sensor, and those are both really easy. But at the time, I didn't know anything, so I was digging through my dad's tools and stuff like that, and having that sense of responsibility of like, well, now I have a car, I have to do this. And my first job was the same way. It was like, I was a typical teenage boy, underwear in the corner, socks everywhere, like dirty bedroom. My Arby's uniform was washed as soon as I got home from work and then hung to dry. And it was like, I'm a professional at Arby's because it gave me a sense of responsibility. I had to meet the customer's needs for those 5 for $5.95s. I had to be polite, kind, and honest,
Yeah.
So I get that. Next one. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite tool in your shop?
In my shop? Or like in my toolbox?
Yes.
It probably would be an adjustable wrench, just because you can put hydraulic lines on them with it. You can loosen and tighten bolts about any shape bolts, and then
Because it's
adjustable.
Because it doesn't falter in the face of adversity, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, last question, and then we'll get you out of here. When you die and meet God, what do you want him to say to you? What do you want him to say to you?
That I was a kind, giving person and didn't really take a lot. I mean, I was always caring for more people than I do myself. I'd rather everyone else be better than me. So I always would give more than I take and care more than I do for myself.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Evan. That's a very, very good answer. And that's one of the examples that I would say is beyond, I think, your age bracket where your maturity kind of heads forward. The first thing you said is that you want to be recognized for what you've done for other people. And that's why you've been able to fit in here. And that's kind of the idea that we take into what we are trying to do to support the community, to build machines, to support our employees is if everybody gives more than they take, then you end up being forced to take more than what you have to give. So it all works out better. So what are your final thoughts as we kick you out of the podcast?
Hope everyone has a good day and have fun.
Have you guys seen the video of the little kid that takes a big drink out of a cup and then moves his glasses down onto his face and looks back and goes, "Mommy, I love you." Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Evan, can you pull it up? This video is what I think of when I think of you. It's so wholesome and sweet and devoid of the bitterness of this world. And it is so good. It's perfect. This is what working with Haiden is like, is that video right there. So thanks for spending your time with us. I'm going to talk more about CBA and what we're doing out there, what they're doing out there specifically. I'll obviously talk a little bit about what we're going to bring and whatnot, but talk about their event and what they've done in past years. Hayden, never change.
I'll try not to.
Specifically that outfit. Never that let it rot off your body. You look nice.
Thanks.
Almost as dapper as Benton.
That's who?
Benton.
Who's that?
Benton. His name's Benton. That's who he is.
Oh, the guy, little kid.
Benton is not that kid. Benton's one of our friends.
Oh, okay.
He's dapper.
Dapper Dan.
I'm getting them.
Look, we're withholding the interview a little bit longer so that you can see Benton. Look how dapper he looks in his little shirt.
Look at it.
Yes,
So
looks
good.
good.
It's a custom shirt.
Custom shirt. He'll tell you.
So good.
It's a custom shirt. I wonder if he knows how often we reference that photo on this podcast.
I don't know. It's pretty good.
Yeah. We'll be back in 15 seconds. All right, guys, welcome back. It feels like there should be an ad sponsor there. Should we? No. Maybe we'll shoot an ad and throw it in the middle there. Probably not. All right, guys. This podcast, I want to specifically make sure that the freaking music, you psycho, you make it last so long now.
I like it.
For some reason, you have just started making it last forever. Throws me off my trail. All right, I want to make this point. We do not do sponsors so that you guys don't have to sit through us talking about, whatever company just because they gave us a few bucks. I would struggle with accepting sponsorships because it would be hard for me to talk about something that I did not. I don't like reading off a script. I don't like saying, "Oh, we do this thing," because they told me to tell you that. That feels dirty. But I'm just going to go ahead and say this podcast is brought to you by California Blacksmithing Association. We do not have a very super deep, long relationship with them. We're about 3 years in now, but what they have done to open us into their community, work us into some of their events, their publications, things like that. They have been a great partner of ours about getting our customers served out there. There are a couple contacts that I have out there that have been just absolutely wonderful. And I want to take the time to thank them. So John McClellan lets me ship all of my stuff to him, and then he takes it to the event. We won't have to do that this year because the event is in a place that can handle shipping, but he typically allows me to ship everything to him, and then he takes it to the event, and he has never charged me a dime for that. He's never asked for any special anything. He does that because he thinks that us being out there will make it a better event, and he is just a kind man. So John McClellan, thank you very much. The second one stays pretty anonymous on the internet, so I am going to only refer to him as Quartermaster. That is his term. Well, we can call him Greg. There's a lot of Gregs in the world. Greg, the quartermaster there at the CBA, has taken the time to jump on phone calls with me. He will call people who are demonstrating and ask if they need a press, what tooling they need. He gets me kind of line items. He is one of our biggest cheerleaders out there. He bought a 16-ton with the DPC last year because he wanted one and because he thought it would be cool to have the DPC on display at the event. And so he did that, and then he bought a induction forge the first year we were out there. So hopefully this year he'll buy a K75. Just keep every year I go out there, Greg has to buy a machine. But he works out of John's shop, and he has been crucial to the logistics and the actual communication there, as well as letting all of the event planners know what we're doing, what we require. And we're pretty low maintenance when it comes to shows. We kind of have it set ourselves. We need you to maybe pull the stuff out of the back of our truck and have electricity available. But they are absolutely wonderful. Those two specifically. There's Antonio, there's Linda, there's another John that have all been very, very helpful. That's where I get to hang out with Leah every year, and a different John, a third John, John Page. So we've been able to make really cool connections out there, and I just want to for the first time ever sponsor a podcast, and we're doing it based off of all of their hard work and their efforts that they've already given us. So this episode is brought to you by California Blacksmithing Event, specifically the Spring Conference in 2026. Let's start out with my recap of 2025. So I flew out to Sacramento in 2024. It was in Placerville. That's so long ago, I barely remember. Kelly and Mike demonstrated on the induction forge. I had a press, but I was kind of in a spot where I was in between two demonstrations, and they put me with the demonstrators. And while the people were talking, if I'm running the press, it would have been kind of annoying to people. So that next year I asked them, I said, hey, can I get put like with the green coal? And they were like, yeah. Can the green coal use the press? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I want. And so they set me up with the green coal, and we made some tools. I punched a eye for one hammer. I think I only punched an eye for one hammer, but we did some cool stuff. And then I had the opportunity to work with Mark Asbury for a little bit. He showed me this really cool technique of how he got a hard corner on the outside and then a really soft corner on the inside using a swage and a piece of bar stock and a press, and it was really cool. So I got to do all that. I got to hang out with a lot of people, meet a lot of people. But I want to talk to you about what goes on, not our experience, but what goes on out there. So last year, I watched 2 demonstrations on my little lunch breaks, or, their demos are set up in time slots. So there are obvious times where I can walk away from what I'm doing because everybody's going to be at the demos or the group forging events. So I watched the first demo is from a young man called Adrian Legge, And I say called because that's what they say in England, and that's where he's from. He was doing this really cool, big, almost like tulip leaf, lily leaf, like maybe 6 foot tall. He was demonstrating with Dennis Dusick striking, and it reminded me so much of just a small 5 or 6 guy hammer in that they all know each other. Mark and him go apparently way, way back, and they were giving each other crap that nobody understood because they were fighting about what parts of the UK they were from. Or maybe England. I still don't understand like UK, Great Britain, England, like all that. I don't understand how that works, but they were giving each other ribs. And so that was fun. Guys in the crowd kind of knew him, and everybody felt really comfortable. And you know, it would go from somebody raising their hand and saying, "Hey, you know, you put that on the big shelf so it won't fall," you know, jokes like that, to somebody else raising their hand and saying, "Hey, you said you were going to knock that down to a 1/4 inch. Is there a difference between a 1/4 inch and 3/8 there? If I take it down to 3/8, what problems will I face?" And he was just so fluid in answering that. The day before it actually opened, he was doing a music note, which is on the advertisement here that I'm using to refresh my memory. And it was even less people, and everybody was even more acquainted with him. I was the oddball out because I didn't really know him, but I got to sit and watch how close that entire community was, and it was awesome. The project that he was working on with Dennis turned out beautifully. Everything Dennis touches is beautiful. He did the dragon tongs that we raffled off for the hammer in this year. He was kind of crucial to Nathan's upcoming on iForged Iron. The first time that I mentioned his name, Nathan was like, "Oh, I used to talk to that guy all the time." He was always very helpful. He was never annoyed that some 13-year-old kid from Ohio kept asking this full-time blacksmith all these questions. So Adrian and Dennis's demo was awesome. I probably got to watch a total of, I'd say probably about 3 hours out of the 2 days they were demoing. And then the other one that I want to mention is Ira Housework. So Ira is a longtime 25-ton press owner. And so I wanted to make sure I took the time, and I believe his assistant's name was James. And they were very much the same way. They were awesome. They were working hard, and they didn't stop swinging to answer questions. They were accepting questions and answering things. And they were doing, the second day, I believe, they were doing a full knife build from audience suggestions. So it's like, "Hey, what do you guys want to see?" "Okay, I'll do that." And then, you know, "This is how I'll do that." "Okay, cool." "Okay, what do you want to see here?" "Okay, I'll do that." And it was, once again, awesome. They have a green coal tent where there's a guy up there just making sure you don't catch yourself on fire, but letting you piddle around. They have very entry-level instruction classes with, they were making like a coffee scoop or a ladle or something like that. All the way up to a team build where they were making a railing and a staircase. So those were the group events that I was aware of. And then they had a bunch of demos. I think they probably have 5 or 6 demos going on at any time usually. And most 2, 3, I'd say probably 3 of them are 2 days. So great event. It's not as overwhelming as SOFA. Sometimes Quad State can get to the point where it's like, "Oh, I want to see this and I want to see this," and they're all going on at the same time, and then everybody breaks and goes to the auction. So the guy that you wanted to talk to, who's the demo you didn't see, it gets kind of overwhelming sometimes. But I also kind of love that about Quad State. So it's nice to have both. But I would say this is just a little bit more relaxed than Quad State. And that event last year was awesome. I think I talked about it on the podcast, but I got to talk to 2 young guys who had just started a small business. One of them was going to school in Italy, and they didn't know how they wanted to spend their money to support the business, to buy tools or to put it in the bank. They called each other brothers, but weren't technically related. I got to meet the dad, and the dad was, it was just awesome. Those 2 guys, shout out you guys again. I also got to meet a couple guys from, I think they were from Boston, and had made their way across America over the past few years, just continually moving west until they ended up in Oakland. They were super nice. Everybody was just cool. And they're there for metalworking, you know? I'm not going to ignore the fact that we all make fun of California constantly. But the blacksmithing community does not change in California. It is the same community that you will have in Indiana, in Florida, in Texas, in New Hampshire. It's all like-minded people that just want to get the work done. You know, it's super cool. So that's my sales pitch. And for you to go to CBA, let me tell you about what's going on this year. So just a little insight. They have hands-on education, special bladesmithing area this year. I don't believe I've seen that before. So they're going to have a focus on bladesmithing. A youth education area, which is the green coal that I was referring to. Contests and games, a gallery. Their gallery is super cool. There's a ton of great artists out there that don't consider themselves blacksmiths, but consider themselves artists, and they do some really cool stuff. There is a banquet and an auction. That auction is always a lot of fun, and the banquet, the food is always really good. The first year they did these like shrimp street tacos. And then last year was, I believe it was prime rib, but really good food. Then they have vendors and tailgating and on-site meals. So they have 2 food trucks. And let me tell you, they have got a Cali fresh burger with coleslaw and, you know, stuff on it, like a food truck burger joint, and chicken fingers, stuff like that. And it's pretty good. But they also have a like actual Cajun food truck that comes out, and they have Gator po' boy. They have a andouille gator gumbo, and the chef, when you ask him, when you say, "Hey, what do you like here?" He rubs his belly and lifts it up a little bit, does this thing, and says, "I like everything." That's how you know I'm a good cook. So the food trucks there are delicious, especially the Cajun one. Getting into more of the fine details, though. The spring conference is at Vista this year. It's right outside of San Diego. It is at a steam museum. So it's a full power, lots of machines in there. It is a super cool building, and the guys that operate the blacksmithing part of that always come to the CBA events, and they are delightful. They are very kind. They are very enthusiastic, and they probably, like anybody that runs a school, they just want to do the work with you. They want help. They have questions for us specifically. They have questions about their press and upgrading that to a 16-ton, but they're just really enthusiastic about talking about the work and getting it done and having a good time doing it. So I really enjoy talking to those guys. I've been on a conference call with them. Specifically, who comes to mind is Dave Catchpole. He's been great to talk to the past couple times I've been out there. So some of the demonstrators that they have this year, they have Elizabeth Bells. She's a resident artist blacksmith at John C. Campbell Folk School. They have Gary Brown as a professional smith specializing in colonial area forging. Jeffrey Funk from the New Agrarian School. We're going to talk about a couple of these guys. Don't worry, I'm not just rushing through them. Nigel Barnett of the UK will lead a team sculpture project during the conference. And Walter Sorrells. I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing, but I think he's going to be doing, what are the short Tontos, Tornos? Tonto. Yeah, I think he's going to be doing a set of Tontos. And I know that because we are going to be providing the press, and we are sponsoring the Walter Sorrells venue. So I will be set up next to Walter, and he will be going through all the details of his Tonto build and what he's doing specifically. But for that, I believe the way that it'll work out is I will be there to handle any of the press questions that people might have. Now, that is coming with the caveat of Walter, he's probably going to be able to answer 95% of your questions. He runs a press in his own shop. He has a lot of great techniques. We've had him on the podcast before. He's a very insightful man. He has lived 6 lives. He's into a lot of stuff, and he's well known in a lot of realms. And I'm really, really excited to get the opportunity to spend time with him. So before I move on to talking about the other demonstrators and giving people backgrounds and stuff, What we are bringing out is I plan on bringing out a 25 ton for the demo, another 12 ton, a 25 kilowatt induction forge, and two 15 watt kilowatt forges. That is on top of what everybody purchases for us to ship out for free shipping. So if you want to buy something and you live in California and you are coming to this event, email me, info@coalironworks.com. Do not buy it off the website. Email me at info@coalironworks.com. Get it shipped to the event for free and pick it up from that event. The only added responsibility you have from saving $900 to $1,500 is it will go into the back of your truck and you will have to be able to get it off your truck. So if you don't have a forklift, don't buy a C-frame and throw it in the back of your truck and then call me on Monday and tell me you don't know how to unload it. I haven't had this issue yet, and I'm not going to, because I'll ask those questions when I get the email. But that is, if you have a way to unload your truck with the equipment you're getting, you get free shipping. Induction forges weigh 240 pounds. The H-frames are very manageable with a couple of guys and a six-pack of root beer, to be able to get that out and get that set up. I can ship carts, I can ship tooling, I can ship materials, whatever you guys need, please let us know. Save yourself some money. We can ship it all out there for around the same price as shipping one press. It really is shocking how cheap it is to send multiple presses compared to one single press. So that's what we are going to be bringing out there. All of that will be available to purchase. Like I said, two 15 kilowatts, 25 kilowatt, a 12 ton, and a 25 ton will be available over that weekend to purchase from us. So let's get into the demonstrators. I don't know a ton about all of these demonstrators, so I'm kind of going to talk about the ones I do know about. Bette Barnett, she is demonstrating painting on metals. I know that I talked to her for a while last year, but we talked about life, not about metal. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what she does, but can guarantee that she has a very soothing voice. I talked to her for probably an hour during lunch one day. She was awesome. And then Elizabeth Bells. Elizabeth is a contemporary blacksmith and a metal artist celebrated for sculpture works inspired by insect anatomy and natural forms. She's the owner of Black Widow Forge and serves as a blacksmithing and metals coordinator at John C. Campbell Folk School. Her style blends traditional forging with imaginative fabrication, creating intricate steel creatures just to push the narrative boundaries of what defines an insect. This is another person that I have not got to spend a lot of time around, but I met at Abana, talked to briefly. We're getting rid of that. I have talked to her briefly and am blown away by her knowledge, by her inquisitiveness, by how she keeps taking the conversation deeper for a deeper understanding. And the conversations that I was around, it wasn't just me and her. It was, around a campfire or around, whatever else was going on. So excellent blacksmith. Really, really deserves a lot of notoriety, and I'm very excited to hopefully have some time to be able to sneak away and watch her demo, where Leah is a little bit more of a fabricator with really good blacksmithing fundamentals. I would say that Bells is very good at the full blacksmithing experience. If you're into Leah's work, you will be into Bell's work. So, Elizabeth, sorry. So check her out. Even if you're not going, check her out on the Instagram, on the Facebook, whatever social media that you work off of. Walter Sorrells, let's get into it. Walter Sorrell. Walter Sorrells is a master bladesmith known for forging Japanese-inspired swords, knives, and the highest caliber. With 25 years of experience in knife making, he creates artful blades that balance beauty with functionality. From modern high-performance tactical knives to traditional samurai-style swords, forged and folded Tamahagni?
That was closer.
Tamahagian.
Yep, keep going.
Tangerine.
That was it.
Folded tangerine steel, Sorrells is equally renowned as an educator in the craft, with clear instructional videos and demonstrations that have inspired a new generation of bladesmiths worldwide. First of all, go back and listen to the Walter Sorrells podcast that we did. Excellent content there. Nathan did it, so not a dumb guy, asking him questions, and very insightful conversation that they have. I haven't listened to it in a while. I'll probably go back and listen to it. I get made fun of for listening to our podcast. If I listen to it, mainly it's because I'm not on it and I'm listening to whoever was. And B, I am so afraid that I said some stupid stuff and Evan left it in there just so he could laugh at me later. Genuinely, or I'll say some things that maybe need to stay behind camera and they didn't get edited out. So I listen to every one of our podcasts, and it's really weird to have a YouTube video pulled up with no sound if I'm monitoring the chat. So I do listen to our podcast. And so another weird side tangent. Walter does a lot of Japanese inspired blades, but he kind of moderns it up. He brings it into the forefront because he also has that interest in the technical mindset. When I reached out to him, I was really kind of expecting to have a bunch of specialty dies that we were going to have to bring, or a way to attach his dies to our current die plates. But when I reached out, he was like, nope, I pretty much do it all on a combo die. You're good to go. I hate to be a drama queen, but can I have a foot pedal? Like that was his, like, you're not a prima donna for asking for a foot pedal, man. Like we're good. Like that is totally in the realm of requests. So I'm really excited. I will be probably right up in there next to him most of the time. And I'm excited to get to know him. Maybe invite him to my birthday dinner. Maybe we'll become best buds. When we were in Placerville, I got the worst barbecue in my life. I'm just going to go on the record and say that. I said at the time it was really good because I wanted to hype up the CBA and I didn't want to speak ill of them at all. But the barbecue that I got from the brewery that we went to in Placerville was shoe leather with Sweet Baby Ray's on it on top of a pile of flavorless mac and cheese.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but the company was awesome. The people that I went to with, and the beer was good too. I had a pale ale, I think. It was a beer that I don't really get a lot, that I'm not super into. Guys, I am a trash beer kind of guy. Okay. I'm not, I used to do the stouts and the things like that, and I'm pinky out. It made me a jerk. I would go to eat with people and I'd be like, oh, you're good at Budweiser? I don't like that. So now when I go to breweries and they don't have your Miller's Lights, your Coors Lights, I'm a PBR guy myself. But if they don't have, we'll call them Domestos. If they don't have a Domesto option, I'll try to get like a pale ale or an American ale. They kind of all fall under the same name. I'm a big fan of Kolsch's though, because Kolsch, I'm pretty sure, is just some European language for crappy American beer. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Like Kolsch's just tastes like a Domesto. So it was a pretty good beer. Terry Funk was there. John McClellan, Greg was there. I cannot remember the gentleman's name. He's a younger guy. David was there. Super awesome dude. I have nothing bad to say about the CBA, but the restaurant choice that one time, that's the one opportunity I'm going to give them. But we're in a completely different part of the state. So, and last year when I went, I ordered takeout and got squid from a Thai place. It was very good. It was very, very good, especially for like $12 takeout. It was awesome. Anyway, moving on. Walter Sorrells, I'm very excited. He's probably not pumped that he just got stuck in the middle of that rant, bookshelving that, but he has got a ton of insight. I am so excited to be working with him on this. And, you know, this is another one of those. I got into him because we actually, Evan had showed me a couple times, and then we got him on the podcast. And I got into him then. This isn't necessarily a guy that I've looked up to since 2015 or 2016. And I'm not really a knife guy, but I really, really admire his work. And if I were to get into knives, I think that would be my knife guy. I think that's probably Evan's guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Walter would probably be mine. You know what? No, it's going to be Charlie. Sorry, Walter.
That's fair.
Charlie can answer my questions faster. So moving on, come out and see Walter. The next one is Nigel Barnett. Nigel Barnett is a master blacksmith from Norfolk, England, known for his beautifully crafted decorative and architectural work. I don't know exactly what the sculpture is he's been working on. I follow him on YouTube. I don't see a lot of his blacksmithing videos, but I know that he is the Eng Yang rep out there. Sells induction forges, does a lot of the tooling supply out there, and just seems like a good guy from his videos. He's a lot like us, where when he puts a product out, he will shoot a video about it, kind of going over maintenance, going over operation, what to expect. And he always kind of adds it with the preface of, you can always call me. You can always get a hold of me. I want this machine to work. So I don't know him personally, and I don't have a ton of time around him, but based off what I see off the Instagram, pretty good dude. I can give my preliminary thumbs up on this guy. So, Gary Brown. Gary Brown is a California blacksmith known for his historically inspired ironwork and meticulous reproduction of colonial era designs. I am not familiar with his work, but the pictures that they have on the website are beautiful. So Gary obviously does wonderful work. Jeffrey Funk. I am very excited that Jeffrey is going to be demoing this year. Jeffrey Funk is a renowned Montana blacksmith and the founder of the New Agrarian School. I'm going to stop. I'll continue reading. The New Agrarian School has kind of relaunched their YouTube and are kind of going back into trying to get content out. And if you want understandable, easy instruction from a very calm and guided voice, this is one step up from Papaw John. So Papaw John is great at the introduction, at kind of the early stages. New Agrarian is going to start challenging some of those skills that you've learned from Papaw John. This is a excellent teacher with an excellent school with an excellent YouTube channel in the works. And I'm very excited to see what he does with that. New Agrarian School, boom, bust a follow. For over 40 years, he has worked in Big Fork, Montana, forging everything from plowshares and farm tools to public art sculptures and custom architectural work. Funk's style emphasizes technical excellence and authenticity. He combines time-honored blacksmithing techniques with creative design. Beyond his accomplishments as a craftsman, Terry Funk is perhaps best known as a teacher and mentor. He has been a regular demonstrator at blacksmith conferences across the country and has taught at esteemed craft institutes such as Penland, Peters Valley, and the New England School of Metalwork. Students and peers alike praise his depth of knowledge and his philosophical approach to craft. Now, we talk about Kurt all the time, okay? I want you to think back to Kurt and what we've talked about. And I need you to imagine him as Ron Swanson. Kurt, in definition, we'll call him Ron Swanson. Parks and Rec, do you remember there's an episode where they combined governments with Eagleton, and Ron's counterpart is played by Sam Elliott, and he wears sandals, talks about doing yoga and going on hikes? Do you remember that, Evan?
Oh,
I'm asking you specifically.
Yes.
Okay. This is Ron and Jeffrey, or Kurt and Jeffrey. They are doing a great job. They're doing very, very similar work, and they're both doing a great job. Their approaches are very, very different. Kurt's is, let's go, let's get it done, kind of, let's get to the techniques, and it's
all the bacon you have.
Structured. Yes, all the bacon you have is Kurt's technique. Genuinely, it is very face forward. If I told you to make a square, I want you to make a square. Whereas what I've experienced from Jeff, like it says, it's very philosophical, and I'm going to show you how to make a square after we decide what a square is. Let's talk about what makes a square. And so there's all kinds of, you don't just get the knowledge, you get the wisdom behind it. And you get a whole different thought process than anything else that I've been able to experience. I am taking out extra money this year because there will be some Jeff Funk hammers in my collection. They are not quite Czech style. They're not quite Brazil style. They're not quite Farrier style, but they kind of take all of them and what their purpose is and what they do well and combine them. They're kind of these big, they look more Czech than anything, but the fullers are fat. very even weight on a smaller handle than you would typically have on a check. I mean, they're awesome. And that comes from his background understanding and knowledge of what is the forearm functioning for? Well, can I combine these forms to have both functions in what I'm doing? Getting to spend time with him talking about making his own charcoal and having this special kind of wood planted 20 years ago. And dude, it's just a wealth of knowledge. And it's very refreshing. Don't let me make you think I'm talking trash about Kurt in any way. It's not refreshing because I'm tired of Kurt. I will sit and talk to that man for the next 40 years and never get bored. But Jeff's is a whole different, it's more artisan. It's less find the work, do the work. And it is more, what's the purpose of the work? How are we attaining value through the work? And so I'm very inspired by him every time I've gotten to talk to him. Come out and see him. I feel like that felt like it wasn't going to end, but it did. And then Anton Yakushev. Anton Yakushev is a world-class metal artist, sculptor, and blacksmith originally from Moscow, Russia, and is now based in Central Oregon. He's renowned for his contemporary hand-forged metal sculptures, fantastical one-of-a-kind artworks composed of dozens of individual forgings. Once again, not very familiar, but based off of the photos that I looked up and saw, great work. Awesome work. So, guys, this is going to kind of head us out. I am very appreciative of the CBA and everything they've done for us. Also want to shout out the gentleman that bought a induction forge last year that took the time to give me the history of Co-Walsh anvils. That was super cool. I cannot remember that guy's name off the top of my head now. I can see him. I can see his truck literally filled with like 9 Co-Walsh anvils, but he gave me the history and it was super cool. But thank you guys for everything that you've done for us as a company. Thank you, Greg and John, for accepting me into a friendship. We're not just colleagues or associates. We're friends. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Linda always making me feel at home and making sure that I've eaten. She's my mom of the group. But this is a great event, guys. We hype up Quad State and we hype up IBA, and every year we talk about CBA, but I don't think we've ever really given the time to give you guys fair warning that if you have time in April, this is April 15th through the 18th. It's 16th through the 19th. 16th through the 19th. I will be getting out there the 15th because I have to set up. But this is a wonderful event. These are wonderful people. If you have time in April, make this as close to priority as you can because there is a ton of knowledge going on and great people, and they're doing really, really cool stuff as an organization, and they deserve your support. So thank you guys for listening. I'm going to go be quiet for about 4 hours because I hate this. Why do you make me do this, Evan? Tell someone you love them.